Jason Lauren on Nova 100.
We are not alone. The Popo are in the house.
That's the sound of the police.
You first start talking.
Jason Lauren's
Answer me!
Probe the Popo.
Tell me what you know.
That's right. We like to catch up with the police who
We
do
do.
a fine job here in Victoria.
But we like being on the right side of the law when we
Good
catch
call.
up with them, Jace. We love the police.
Senior Constable Ali Wallahan is joining us this morning. Good morning.
Good morning, everyone.
Good
Thanks for having me.
morning.
Now, you are a police negotiator.
Yes.
Sick job.
Sick job. And you've turned up like fully decked out.
He looks
You've
like a
got
proper policeman.
many accessories on there. Talk us through your
You get up.
So the kit I'm wearing is my standard negotiator uniform. I didn't bring it in as a gag. It's literally I'm on duty, and so I may have to deploy to something. But we've got a lot of kit. We've got tasers. We've got radios. We have long arms. We have pistol and standard.
So when you say, like, in whatever situation unfolds right now, you could be deployed to.
Yes, so
effectively.
at any one stage in Victoria, we have a minimum of 2 negotiators on. I'm it with my 2 partners for the day.
Yep.
We can get deployed to kidnapping, hostage situation, suicide or crisis intervention.
Wow.
And anywhere up to barricades and sieges and even a counter-terrorism event.
And so as a negotiator, at what point do you get called in?
We usually get called in by police or law enforcement. We don't get called in by members of the public via 000. So the calls we get are when police have tried and they've been unsuccessful, and that's when they call us.
Right.
You know it's serious when you're rocking up.
Usually it is, and it can be, but like any job, it doesn't mean you can't have a bit of fun with it, and it doesn't mean it can't be interesting and fascinating, and you take something.
When
out
you
of it.
say have fun with it, like, as in with the person, like, hey, come out, we've all left. Gotcha! No, we're here, we're just hidden behind trees.
Well, an oldie but a goodie works every time.
Well,
put the cuffs on him.
I'll give you an example. I was
Yeah.
on the roof of the county court. There was a man who had a case on, and it wasn't going in his favour. And so he decided that he wanted to jump. I was called out, and the judge was talking to him. The judge was negotiating. The judge said to me,
Wow.
"You're only going to make this worse." And I said, well, with respect, sir, when I walk into your courtroom, you're in charge.
Yes.
Yeah.
I am now in charge, and I'm going to ask you to step aside, please. It's time for us to have a go. And so I started talking to this man, and he was an interesting fella. And he said to me, after about 3 hours, if you make me laugh, I will come down and surrender. And so I gave him a joke.
What was your
Not a
go-to?
dad joke.
Now this, bear in mind, this is not,
One from the playbook?
No, this is a daytime joke, but your experience may vary. But he thought it was funny,
Right.
so I'll go to you.
Okay, so I'm on the roof. I've been there for
All right.
how long?
3
All right,
hours.
about 3 hours.
Right.
Knock knock.
Who's there?
Dishes.
Dishes who?
Dishes. Sean Connery.
And that got him off the roof.
It did. It did. And then what's funny,
Do you think he felt sorry for you?
I think he did. I think it was a pretty
the
laugh.
He
game's
was like,
up.
Dad, give it a rest.
So, I mean, how do you train for this? Is it at home with the wife? Or?
Well, my beautiful wife is, she always says to me, you can negotiate hostages, you can negotiate kidnappers, but you can't negotiate our 2 kids.
Well, yeah, that was my
Yes.
next question, actually, because, you've got a couple of kids.
Yes.
And a wife. I don't know what's harder to negotiate with at times.
Well, the running joke at our place is I sometimes do feel like a police hostage negotiator. Like trying to talk an 8-year-old out of a car. They've locked themselves in the car in the driveway because, God forbid, I dropped an M&M. And he won't come out unless I go and buy a new pack.
But I have a feeling, Jace, that you may not keep your cool like a police negotiator because you must have to stay so calm. Are there things that just make you blow? Like,
Yeah, absolutely. Like any sort of policing role, if there's anything involving children and anything involving people that can't protect themselves, that's going to affect you.
Yeah.
You shouldn't be in this job if it doesn't.
Yeah.
So you just got to find coping strategies. You got to find ways to deal with that, and you have to find ways to be vulnerable with your colleagues. And so my mum always said to me, be kind to people because everyone is suffering a battle that you know nothing about.
Yeah.
And I think it's just a nice little line that I remember to know that I haven't walked in anyone else's shoes, and be kind.
but do you ever yell? Surely you raise your voice occasionally.
I've realised that our brains, because we do a lot of psychology and we deal with psychologists a lot, and our brains are attuned to certain frequencies. And so I have noticed that yelling at my kids is not a good idea. But if you whisper at your kids, their brain locks onto that frequency and they will actually...
I've done that, but it's normally at Westfield. When we get back to the car and no one's around, I can tell you now. They bloody listen then, let me tell you.
And does whispering work for husbands as well?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, no yelling. Just
Was that your backup if
that'd
Sean
be
Connery
music.
didn't make him laugh? Please get down off the roof. Please, you're embarrassing me.
I like
You're
Sean Connery.
embarrassing me.
Hey, what movie? No. Genuine question. What movie or TV show would be the most realistic representation of what you do?
Stingers.
Phone box.
Water
What was it?
Police.
Phone booth.
Like Negotiator was on the other night. That movie with Kevin Spacey.
That's right.
Yeah, should have backed someone else there, but
There are a few movies that are very inaccurate. Inside Man with Denzel Washington is very inaccurate, but very entertaining.
Right.
So
Okay.
we don't swap ourselves for hostages. We don't tape a gun to the back of our head and go into a stronghold like Die Hard.
Yep.
Blue Healers.
That's you're getting there.
Okay.
Senior
So-
Sergeant
hang
Tom
on.
Croydon,
couple
Mount
of the,
Thomas Police Station.
couple of rules though. You won't swap yourself for a hostage.
Yes.
What about revealing personal details about your life?
Oh, yeah.
That's a really good question. So we call that association. So,
Yeah.
for example, if you give, so reciprocity is giving and giving in return. So by me giving a little bit of myself to you,
Yeah.
we build a connection and realise we're not so different.
Yeah.
So that's something we actively encourage. But you have to have your own line in the sand. So I'm not going to
So
tell.
it's up to you.
I'm
Yeah.
not going to tell an antisocial, hostile person with a firearm where I live.
But,
Yeah.
but
No.
are they fibs? Are you telling fibs? Or are
No,
you...
we never
Okay,
lie.
Right.
That's our currency because
Okay.
even if you're dealing with a really bad person,
Yep.
that person still has to trust you. They don't have to like you, but they have to trust you. And so trust is won by the inch and lost by the mile.
Lee, here's a question. Say if I barricaded ourselves in the studio, right, and
Go.
said we're not coming out, and I asked for food to be sent in, is there like as long as it's nothing dangerous, like will you send in any requests?
Well, it all depends on what your leverage is. So if
Right.
you're inside a room and we don't need that room for the day, I'd probably be saying no.
Jace wouldn't
Oh,
take
you're
long.
going to try and wade me out.
You just
It
go
wouldn't-
hungry, big
probably.
boy.
It wouldn't take long to start.
I'd leave
them
by
out.
9. You'd have the room back by 9, let me tell you. Hey, this morning, our number is 132410. If you're up for it, do you mind if we open the phones and let listeners ask questions?
Absolutely.
Awesome. There you
How to
go.
negotiate with your child, with your wife,
Yes.
with your boss.
There you go, yeah.
Sometimes I have to negotiate with Jace, and he just talks over the top of me and doesn't listen. I
If
might
you've-
get some tips.
If there you go. Yeah, if you've got dramas at home and you want to use Lee's tips, give us a ring.
That's the sound of the police.
You better start talking.
Jason Lawrence.
Answer me!
Probe the Popo.
Tell me what you know.
That's right. Joining us this morning, Senior Constable Lee Wallahan. He is a police negotiator and also stars in this week's episode of Police Life, The Experts. That's right, a podcast done by Victoria's Police. That's a great idea. That's
Yeah.
awesome. So do you guys showcase different roles in the force in the podcast?
Yeah, it was brought about by wanting to actually say to people there's just many more things than just working the divisional van or doing foot
Yeah.
patrols in
Yeah.
uniform. You can do so many things. There's water police, there's forensics, there's detective units, there's tactical units. And
Have you got to have a
wanted-
good rig to be on the jet skis for the water police?
I would imagine so. That's
Yeah,
why
right.
I'm not there, my friend.
Right.
Yeah.
You'd want to, you want to look good.
Oh, well, the water police aren't getting around with their tops off.
No, on the jet skis they should.
No, they're not.
Okay. Hey, our number is 132410. Lee is happy to answer any questions this morning. You're a police negotiator. We were just having a chat during the song before about how long a siege or a hostage situation can go on for. What's one of the longest you've done?
So we did one in a place called Snake Valley about 10 years ago. It went for 3-4 days. We had,
Wow.
And are you on the whole time?
I was there, but not always on duty because you
Right.
have to sleep, you have to rest, and you have to also wonder when you're being effective. And I work in a team, the most amazing team in Victoria, if not the world. We're a world-leading organisation on negotiating, and we do it full time. So you share the load and you work collaboratively with your colleagues.
But is that hard? Like, say if I'm the one with the gun, for example, I've built a connection with you and now you're like, hey, I'm going to go and have a nap. This is Clint. I don't want Clint. I want
Hasn't
you,
got
Lee.
great chat.
Yeah, terrible chat.
Well, that comes down to what you want versus what you actually need. And so what you want is different to what you need.
Actually,
Yeah.
speaking of which, do you use the media at all? Because they could be watching their telly, they could be listening to their radio.
We do, and in the old days, you would just change someone's phone number, and so that they couldn't call out. The average person now has 4, 5, 6 devices of which they can communicate. So you need to be engaging. You need to be the person that they need, not what they want. So sometimes that person might say, I want a 747 and I want $200,000 and a non-extradition.
Quite often
Do people actually do that? Say, I want $1 million in a helicopter?
Absolutely.
No way.
Because they're chasing, some are chasing fame, right? Because they know they're getting the coverage, they're getting the, the clicks.
But in the end, what it comes down to is you give them what they need and they forget what they want. So, for example, my child...
Hang on, let me get a pen and paper. I need to write this down, mate.
Mums and dads, listen up.
Well, my child says, I want this lolly, or I want this, or I want that. And what they actually need is a sense of they're seeing you walking around the supermarket, making decisions and picking up things, and they just want to do what you're doing, and they need to feel part of that. So you let them feel the need.
So you're empowering them.
Yes, give them what they need, not what they want.
Okay.
So I get them to do the shopping and I stay home? That's what I got out of that.
So hang on. No, we need some more specifics. We need more help here because I feel like every parent...
Absolutely.
So what, you say, oh, darling, why don't you go pick up the cereal?
Yeah. Absolutely. You involve them in the process, make them feel like they're actually part of it. And that's what we do at a siege. We involve the person in the process and say how this day ends is entirely up to you. You are in control, but the way you think the day is going to end is not actually accurate, but these are your options.
Jeez, Lee's so calm.
Isn't he?
I know. Lee, could you come and live in my house for a week?
I was just thinking, are you going to use this tactic on Paul? Paul, you can pick whatever you want off the menu of the restaurant I've picked.
Yes. No, but see, I do things like that. I give him 2 options, like an outrageous one that I know he's never going to go for, and then the one that I want.
Oh, I thought you meant bringing in a third. Let's go to Sarah on 13-24-10.
No.
Sarah, you are on the line with Lee. Your chance to probe the popo. What's your question?
Good morning, guys. Welcome back. Great to hear your voices.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Lee. Look, I've got a daughter who's got ADHD, and her issue is lying, and it's sort of knowing where to... I mean, I go with my gut all the time, so I'm used to now her lying, but it's how do you get them to stop?
How do you spot a liar in a hostage negotiation?
I think what you got to do is you got to learn how to reward the good and then ignore instead of punish the bad.
Right.
And so what I recommend, especially with lying, it does unfortunately start with us. We lie to our kids all the time.
Yeah.
We lie about everything.
We all lie, don't we?
And so it is a learned behaviour. It's not something that they are born with. They learn it. And so I know this is going to sound like a non-answer, but one of the best ways to do it is lead by example and show to them, I'm going to tell you something now that you're not going to like. I'm going to tell you something that you don't want to hear, but it's the truth.
You're shot, Jace.
Yeah, Jace is in trouble.
God.
You lie about everything.
No, I don't.
Isn't he good?
He's very good, isn't he?
Jace lies about everything.
No, I don't.
We had a meeting yesterday and he said, I'm sorry, I've got meetings at the kids' school.
Oh, yeah,
and I
that's
sent him a text saying, you're such a liar. I'll do the meeting
What was
for
happening
you.
at the
I was
kids'
having a
school?
nap. Well, they wanted to do a Zoom meeting at 2
then
o'clock.
there you
That's not
go.
going to work for me.
It's your own fault that the kids are telling little porky pies.
Well,
Oops,
Lee,
that segment went well.
I bloody am fascinated by your job, and I encourage everyone should check out the Victorian Police new podcast. It's called Police Life, The Experts.
I'll be listening to that.
That is crazy. And thank you very much for all the work you guys do, mate. I know it wouldn't be easy, and I can imagine it would be extremely hard being on a job for a couple of days and then having to go home and just like, how do you do that? Walk through the door and just park the police job at work and be dad at home.
I think the important thing is to cherish what you have, cherish your family, be honest and vulnerable with them, and because, like I said, everyone is fighting a battle that no one knows anything about. So it's good to be vulnerable, come home, but don't bring those problems home.
Yes.
He's good.
He's
good.
very good.
Lee, thank you very much for coming in.
We'll call you the next time Jason and I have an issue.
Yeah.
You can sort it
Please
out for
do.
us.
Thank you, guys.
If you wouldn't mind shooting Clint with the taser on your way out.
We love
appreciate
the
it.
police.